Welcome to the Sopot Match Race on the north coast of Poland. It's the third stage of the 2014 Alpari World Match Race Tour, and it's the first time that this established match race event has joined the Global Sailing Series. A new venue with grandstand views and different boats that will challenge the sailors and promises spectators close-up action on the water. At the last stopover in Sweden for the Stena Match Cup, the action and drama came thick and fast. With near-perfect conditions and capacity crowds, it was Sweden's Bjorn Hansen of Hansen's sailing team who took the win in front of his adoring fans. Coming into this third event, the current leaderboard looks like this with the 8 tour card holders. In first place, it's Ian Williams and GAC Pindar on 47 points. In second spot, and with 39 points, is Bjorn Hansen and the Hansen sailing team. Keith Swinton of Team Alpari FX on 34 points is in third spot. In fourth place, and just 1 point back, is Mathieu Richard from the LunaJets team. Here at the Sopot Match Race, there are 7 tour card holders ready to take on this new venue.
I'm Phil Robertson, this is Walker Racing.
Keith Swinton, and this is Team Alpari FX.
Bjorn Hansen, and this is Hansen Sailing Team.
David Gilmore, this is Team Gilmore.
Ian Williams, this is Team GAC Pindar.
Mathieu Richard, Team LunaJets.
Taylor Canfield, and this is US1.
Along with the tour card holders, there are an additional 5 teams consisting of qualifiers and wildcards, with 2 Polish skippers sailing on home waters. Przemek Tarnacki and 2002 ISAF Match Racing World Champion Karol Jablonski. This year will be the 11th edition of Sopot Match Race and takes place on the Baltic Sea in the Polish holiday resort of Sopot, close to Gdansk. As the opening ceremony kicked off, it was clear that it would be a high-profile event, even before the teams had started to race.
We started 11 years ago here in Sopot without the sailing marina at the end of this marvelous wooden pier, half a kilometer. We were doing Grade 2, Grade 1 events. We were doing also Europeans in 2007. And this year we have the honor and privilege to host the third stage of the Alpari World Match Racing Tour. Being a part of the Alpari World Match Racing Tour brings us opportunity to bring here to Poland the best top skippers from around the world. So it's a fantastic opportunity for our 40 million country, for our people here in Sopot. We have 20,000 people daily on this pier. We'll be watching the best skippers around the world.
Well, the significance of the Sopot Match Race is it's the first event ever that we've had on the Alpari World Match Racing Tour in Poland. They're a well-established event, and we've been talking to the event now for a couple of years, and I'm delighted that we can be here and finally add them to the Alpari World Match Racing Tour.
Sopot Match Race is the biggest cycle sailing event here in Poland, run 11th year, and it's not only a great sports competition, but it's also a lifestyle event for people from all around different business, people of culture, famous people, actors and so on. We all gather here in Sopot once a year just to be a part of this fantastic regatta and just to have fun.
They have well over 20,000 spectators that visit the pier each day, and the sailing takes place just right behind me at the end of the pier, and that's a unique element of this event.
The winds might be shifty here from the shore, but also quite stable from the sea. We're always lucky with wind, sunshine at this part of the year.
One of the challenging things here for the sailors, of course, is that many of the teams have never sailed in Poland, and they've certainly never sailed these boats. So once again on this tour, they're having to adapt to another type of boat, and that's one of the unique elements of this tour.
The boats are really great, 3 tons boats, quite demanding, but that's what makes it more spicy.
Yeah, we're at the third event of the Alpari World Match Racing Tour. We're in Sopot, Poland, which is north on the Baltic Sea, and I think it's the first time here for a lot of the tour card holders.
Sopot is a fantastic venue for match racing. Obviously we've got Europe's longest pier here, so it's a great spot for lots of spectators to watch the racing.
Yeah, the boats, not many people have sailed. They're quite tricky. They've got runners on them, which a a lot of people haven't match raced with runners before, and yeah, it just adds another element to the skill set, I guess.
We seem to always have good, good wind here, and the boats are a real challenge. So we love coming here.
After 66 intensive qualifying matches in great match racing conditions, Taylor Canfield was at the top of the leaderboard and had gone straight through to the semi-finals. The next 6 in the quarter-finals were Ian Williams of GAC Pindar, Phil Robertson of Walker Racing, Polish legend Karol Jablonski heading up the Jablonski sailing team, and Mathieu Richard of LunaJets. Nikolai Seierstedt of Trefoil Match Racing and Keith Swinton of Team Alpari FX took the final 2 places. In this regatta, the wildcards and qualifiers had shaken up the establishment of the tour card holders. Both Bjorn Hansen and David Gilmour were out of the competition. Canfield and his team could now sit out the quarterfinals and have some downtime for a day. But life as a professional sailor on one of the toughest world sailing tours is a constant pressure. Hayden Goodrick is the bowman of US 1.
It is an awesome career. It does take you to some of the most exotic and beautiful places in the world, and we're very, very lucky to have this opportunity. It's not every day that you get to come to places like Poland and experience the culture and what this place has got to offer, and at the same time it's our job. We're here doing our job as well, so we get the best of both worlds. So we love it. A lot of people look at professional sailing and they think, professional sailing, you go sailing, that's your job, that's your livelihood, and you're like, yeah, and some people wake up and put on scrubs and go to the hospital. We wake up and put shoes and sunscreen on and go out sailing. So we are very, very fortunate to have this life, and it couldn't be better. I'm married. I live in Vail, Colorado, as far away from the ocean as you could possibly get, in the middle of the Rockies, and I have a almost 2-year-old daughter, and just recently my wife just gave birth to a son, to a boy. His name's Jackson. He is a month old. I've been at home for a week of his life so far, so I'm not exactly going for Father of the Year just yet, but I still have time. It was just in the nick of time, actually just before Sweden. My wife went into labour the day before I had to fly out, and he was born. It made me pretty happy, that I actually got to see him come into this world before I could go to Sweden. So made me a lot better knowing that I could be there to support my wife and see my son. I think I have a very understanding wife, for sure. She gets it. She supports me with what I do, and you don't ever switch out of what you feel for your family. You're always going to feel, love and support towards your family. When you're away and when you're competing, your mentality switches into a professional mode, and what your obligations are as a member on your team, and what your responsibilities are, and what's at stake for your sponsors. You do have a commitment that we have made to them, and we have to make sure we fulfil that. You've got to be comfortable with the guy that you're sitting next to on the rail. I think that's what makes a strong team, and you really do become like brothers and like a family, and that makes a huge difference. I've been away this year a lot, with the World Match Racing Tour having one major event every month almost, and I also do a bunch of other professional sailing in the United States. I've probably been home for probably about 3 weeks total this whole summer. It takes that sacrifice and commitment and that time away from being at home, and it's not a normal job. It's jumping on an airplane and traveling 15 to 20,000 miles away across the other side of the world, and communicating to your partner or your wife via Skype. And I know my daughter, she gets in front of the computer screen and she'll be daddy sailboat, she gets it. It's tough, but at the same time, there's that understanding, and you always know that whenever you go to a regatta, you want to make your wife or your fiance proud, knowing that she wakes up in the morning, with the time difference, looking at the results, checking the results and seeing you had a good day, or maybe it's a bad day, get a little bit of support, maybe get a smile, so it's always, it's that factor, it's that proud factor.
For all the sailors, both skippers and crew, the hunger to win is always at the forefront of their minds. The 6 teams below Taylor Canfield and his team were all feeling the heat. 3 knew they would be going home after the quarterfinals. Welcome back to the Sopot Match Race on the north coast of Poland. In its 11th edition, the regatta now forms part of the Alpari World Match Racing Tour. It's the 3rd event on the tour, and after 2 days of intensive qualifying, the top scorer Taylor Canfield of US1 had skipped straight through to the semi-finals. The 6 teams below were all feeling the heat. 3 knew they would be going home after the quarterfinals. The first pairing was Ian Williams, skipper of GAC Pindar, up against Polish skipper Karol Jablonski of Jablonski Sailing Team. It was a head-to-head of 2 past ISAF match racing world champions. Ian Williams, a 4-time champion. Karol Jablonski had won the championship in 2002. Jablonski knew the boats and local waters well, but lost the first 2 matches against the ruthless and clinical methods of Williams. Going into their 3rd match, Jablonski's back was against the wall. He had to win.
Williams looking for the hook.
Hey, come on! Up!
Huge aggressive luff from Williams, forcing Karol Jablonski to tack away. Williams blocking Jablonski, preventing him from tacking in at the top mark. Both boats head to wind. And after coming into the top mark pretty much even, Williams is sailing away. Great work from GAC Pindar. Williams trying to hold on to his lead, keeping his air clear from behind. They're under control, and it is Ian Williams that will progress through to the semi-finals.
So Williams was through to the semis in straight sets. In the second pairing, it was a more fraught battle. Phil Robertson, heading up Walker Racing, was up against event qualifier Nikolai Sejersted of Trefor Match Racing. The pairing proved to be a close match. Sejersted sailed well and outperformed Robertson in the 1st and 4th matches, making it 2-2 and everything to play for in match 5. In the end, it was Robertson's expertise that shone through with a clean win. Robertson was heading to the semi-finals. In the 3rd pairing, Mathieu Richard's LunaJets team was up against Keith Swinton of Team Alpari FX. Swinton won the first match, but Richard fought back hard to gain 2 wins on the trot. Going into match 4, Mathieu Richard was 1 win away from making it into the semi-finals. Swinton was against the ropes. Swinton had to win this race to stay in the game. It was do or die for the Australian.
Keith Swinton just out in front, crossing from the left-hand side of the racecourse. This is Keith Swinton out in front, setting his spinnaker, heading down the run. Swinton up onto the wind, sailing off to the right-hand side. Mathieu Richard rounding the same mark. Final top mark, Keith Swinton out in front, heading for home.
Just holding here, holding.
Here comes Mathieu Richard. A little bit of pressure for the rounding of Mathieu Richard, but that won't help. There's a twist in the spinnaker. But the pressure has blown the twist out. Mathieu Richard sailing fast. He's managed to close up to Keith Swinton, trying to position himself so that the dirty air from his sails blows down onto Keith Swinton and slows him down. Continually fanning the sail, trying to throw as much turbulence down onto the line of Swinton as possible. And now it is a drag race to the finish. Richard nearest to us, catching a small surge on that wave, his bow drawing ahead of Swinton. Is that going to be enough? There's the bow of the committee boat, there's the finish line, and it is Mathieu Richard from France that comes through to take that important win and a place in the semi-final.
Sorry guys, my fault. Shouldn't have dived at the top.
On the penultimate day at the Sopot Match Race, it was down to the last 4 teams who'd fought their way through to the semi-finals. Having gone through to the semis by topping qualifying, Taylor Canfield of US1 had the pick and chose Mathieu Richard of LunaJets. Ian Williams of GAC Pindar would be left to face Phil Robertson of Walker Racing. As the semi-finals got underway in a fair breeze and under blue skies, it was Mathieu Richard and Phil Robertson who took the first wins over Taylor Canfield and Ian Williams, respectively. In the second match between Richard and Canfield, the American fought back to make it even. Phil Robertson was pushing Ian Williams hard and took his second win. Ian Williams was on the back foot and the pressure was on to get a win. Could Williams be going home after his next match? Richard now had the chance to make it to the finals. Could Canfield fight back? We join match 4.
Slightly faster start from Canfield. Richard looking to roll up through the tack. And as the boats come back together, Richard looking for the slam dunk. Taylor diving his bow in to lure to Richard, looking to try and hook, looking to force Richard to come up and tack. Boats getting very close.
We would have hit him.
Appeals to the umpire and it's a green flag. Huge frustration from Rod Dawson on board US1. Not happy with that decision. And as they roll through the tack, Richard tacks right on top. Canfield tries again to tack back to the right. Richard again tacking hard on top, not giving Canfield any escape. Mathieu Richard round in front. Spinnaker set. Canfield forced to follow on.
In 3,
Still very light.
He's jibe, extending rod, okay?
Spinnaker set. US1 is round. Now Richard is around.
Hatch down, please.
And Canfield following.
There we go.
Canfield forced to tack straight away. Richard tacking on top.
And big press.
And around the final top mark, it is Mathieu Richard setting his spinnaker, pointing for home. And Canfield around. Can he find a way back into this match? Spinnakers are up and set. Great hoist from Canfield.
Jibing here, jibing now.
Looking for the early jibe, trying to jibe onto the air of Richard. As both boats complete onto starboard. Now is Canfield in a position to attack.
And press here.
Smooth jibe. And a nice roll from US1. Richard just staving off. He's still out in front. Very close between the two boats, but the finish line is looming. Can Richard hold on? Both boats coming down towards the finish line now. There's the pin. And it is Mathieu Richard from France, Team LunaJets, that comes through the line. He takes the win in this very close semi-final.
It was the first time the Frenchman had made it to the finals in this year's Alpari World Match Racing Tour, but who would he be facing? Ian Williams of GAC Pindar or Phil Robertson of Walker Racing? In the second pairing, Williams had lost his first 2 matches to Robertson. Williams needed the next win to have any chance of staying in the game. Was the 4-time world champion losing his grip? The answer, put simply, no. He won the next 2 matches and took it to match point with Robertson. It was winner takes all.
Williams jibing onto starboard.
Hey, turning faster. We're on starboard here.
Robertson is on the inside.
Turn faster. Hey, give me room.
We've seen that intensity from Williams so far this competition, and it continues into this match.
Come up.
Coming up, coming up, coming up, coming up. Come and hit me. Coming down, coming down.
A lot of noise coming off Williams' boat.
Soaking. Ready? Jib in the air, jib in the air.
Robertson under control, focused on the sailing.
He's bearing off at us there.
Let's go with this. Yeah,
Jib's going up. Robertson under control. Wind is very light.
Up and 5.
And there's the start gun.
3, 2,
and Phil
1,
Robertson is in a controlling windward position.
Now, okay? It's all speed. Focus trim.
Drag race out to the right-hand side.
3,
Smooth
2,
sailing.
1, hoist.
And the waves on the racecourse have dropped. Makes it a little easier for the crews to manage the speed on the boats. Robertson setting the spinnaker.
Okay, soaking when you got it, okay? Almost
down towards the mark. Williams prepares.
Get that kite in, get the kite in. Jib on, jib on.
For Robertson holding on to the lead. He rounds that right-hand mark. Slightly messy drop. It is still Robertson out in front. Robertson sets his spinnaker, final run. Can Williams find a way back into this match?
Ready? Guys, we're there. 2, 1, go hoist.
Robertson looking for the jibe.
He's jibed, okay.
He's made the decision to take that left-hand side of the run.
I think we've got to go straight. Right, get it going.
Williams electing to take the right-hand side of the run, so we're going to see a split.
Sorry, mate. I'm happy to jibe if you want now, but keep it close. Yeah.
Not sure that's what Chris Mayne, tactician, wanted, but that's what they've got. And as the boats come back together at the bottom, it is Williams that has come back into this match.
It there, but we're just coming through, you know, we're still faster.
Some disagreement on board GAC Pindar as to which way to go at the top mark, but it's worked out for them. It's turned to gold. And GAC Pindar coming down towards the finish. This will put them in the final, and they have come from behind on this final run. Excellent sailing from Williams and his team.
Nice one, guys. Never in doubt, I thought.
Ian Williams showed a masterclass in coming back from the dead and cemented his place in the final. So it had come down to the last 2 teams to go head-to-head to decide who would win the Sopot Match Race here in Poland. It would be 4-time world champion Ian Williams heading up GAC Pindar versus Mathieu Richard's LunaJets. It was Ian Williams who took the first win. Mathieu Richard now had to step up to the fight, and in match 2 the Frenchman did just that. He took the win to make it even. With a 1st to 2-point series, this would be the deciding match of the regatta.
This is match point. Richard with the tack across the stern of Williams, who slams the tack back in. Richard straight into a luff. Totally different style of sailing now the wind has built. Williams trying to get his jib backed, and some confusion has handed the advantage to Mathieu Richard. Builds on starboard and tacks back. But then Richard has just stalled. And now Williams sailing off to the right-hand side. But coming up to the scark gun, Richard will be a little bow forward as he sails through the line. But Williams, some cool sailing, has got a controlling position on the windward side. It's now a drag race. And Williams getting into the mark first. Williams down and around on this first lap, heading towards the bottom marks. And Richard coming up with a little burst of speed, very close. We're coming up to the bottom marks. The spinnakers are coming down. Williams electing to round the right hand of the 2 marks. And Richard looking to try and come in the gap. Here comes Mathieu Richard diving in on the line of Williams. Can he get in? Huge contact between the rigs. That's the voice of Chris Mayne calling stop. He can see the boats are tangled. They're trying to untangle themselves. And the umpires have intervened. That is a red flag penalty on Mathieu Richard. He brings his bow down. He's going to sail across the stern of Williams. That will offset his penalty. You can see the penalty flags coming down. Now Williams tacks. At the top of the course, Williams still under control. Here Williams talking about his mast. I believe the mast is bent from that heavy impact at the bottom.
So let's just not drop the rig and we'll win the race.
They can keep the rig up, they'll win the race. That's the voice of Williams. As they tack around the final mark, we'll see them set the spinnaker and head for home. Nice and conservative, not looking to leave anything to chance with the potential of the damage on board. He's leading the charge down the run, the charge to the finish. There we can see the chute of Richard behind him. And there is the finish line. And there is Williams' bow. He is coming through. He will win the championship. Superb sailing from Williams and GAC Pindar.
Ian Williams had won the Sopot Match Race 2-1 against Mathieu Richard. It was Williams' second time racing at the event and his second win. Years apart, but the four-time world champion proved he had what it takes.
We're really pleased to have come through and won here in Sopot. We came here just thinking if we can get into the semi-finals, then we can keep the pressure on the other teams. And you know, starting this morning, I guess we thought that semi-finals was as far as we were going to get, but the guys just came out firing. You know, all of them: Chris Main, Graham Spence, and Mal Parker, and we got that semi-final and then went on and won the final. So, you know, really pleased to have won here in Sopot.
Congratulations to Williams and his teams. They did a good job, obviously, and it's a bit frustrating to lose the final, but 2-1. And anyway, it's a good result for Team LunaJets. We finished second here. We probably climb a bit on the ranking of the World Tour. We cannot say it's so bad, so it's a good result to finish second here.
For the first time on the World Match Racing Tour, the Sopot event, you know, proved to be awesome, and hopefully have them around for many more years. You know, obviously tough break for us today. Ended up third in the event, which we're happy to get on the podium after, you know, Richard had a good semi-finals against us. So a few errors on our part. Just gotta, you know, stick with it, get a little more practice in, and come in swinging in Chicago.
So, after the final results at Sopot Match Race 2014, the current tour leaderboard looks like this. In first place, it's Ian Williams and GAC Pindar on 72 points. In second place, and with 55 points, is Mathieu Richard from LunaJets. Defending ISAF World Champion Taylor Canfield of US1 is in third with 48 points. Stage 4 of the 2014 Alpari World Match Racing Tour travels to the USA. The Chicago Match Cup is set in a natural amphitheatre on the city's waterfront overlooking Lake Michigan. The location provides the ideal stadium for spectators and sailing enthusiasts to enjoy all the racing action of the Chicago Match Cup. Join us there for the midpoint in the World Tour, a regatta where results really start to affect overall standings.